So in this video, you will learn exactly what to do if you've been trying to move on from a girl. I know you've had this experience before where there's a girl that you've been chasing for the longest time and you can't stop thinking about her. To you, she's the most extraordinary woman in the world and there's no one else like her. The way she laughs sounds like pure joy. The voice of her voice sounds like a goddess. The sight of her presence gets your heart racing at 1,000 thumps per minute. You're convinced that if you could just have her, happiness would be yours forever and you'd never desire anything else again. Shoot, you may not even be a big believer in soulmates, marriage, or the concept of the one, but for this one girl, you'd push that all to the side and make her an exception. Look, I'm a realist when it comes to these situations, and I'm not gonna be feeding you lies on how to finally get that girl that you can't stop thinking about. No, in this video, I'm teaching you how to gain back control of your mind, heart, and dating life. It's about finding genuine happiness by welcoming quality women into your life instead of fixating on one single girl. Well, let's talk about the one for a minute. What if I told you it might not be her that you like so much, but instead, it's the thrill of uncertainty and the dream of eventually succeeding that she will be yours one day. I remember when I was a little kid, there would always be a series of toys in the Happy Meals that you got at McDonald's. Do you remember that? And after opening up the small plastic bag that the toy came in, there would be a pamphlet of all the other toys in the series. And I remember each time there would always be one toy out of the 10 or so that they were giving out that I would really want. So each time I got a Happy Meal, it was like this big feeling of suspense that I got because I didn't know if I was finally going to get the toy that I wanted or not. Well, after getting Happy Meal after Happy Meal, it felt like I could never seem to get the toy that I wanted. I begged my parents to buy me more Happy Meals, which looking back was not a great idea because I was pretty chubby as a kid. But anyways, whenever the lady from the drive-thru window would hand me that super cool cardboard cube with the golden arches on top, I was always super excited, hoping I'd finally get the toy that I wanted. Sometimes the car ride back home was disappointing because I didn't get the toy that I was dreaming about, but other times it felt like I hit the lottery because I got one of the super rare toys. Looking back, it's crazy how much of an emotional tie I had to these toys. I wanted the rare ones so bad. I wanted to get all of them. And getting these powerful, obsessive feelings about anything, it could be toys or women or anything else, it comes from these few things that I'm about to say right now. Number one, it comes from you not being able to get what you want right away. Number two, you begin working and struggling to get it. Number three, you find that you still want it, so you keep on trying to get it. Number four, you feel that you're close in getting it, so you keep on trying. Number five, you keep on investing more and more, but never really fully getting it, but always feeling just so ever so close. Number six, now you start overthinking about it more and more to the point where you're now obsessing over it. Number seven, now you're at the point where nothing else comes along to break you out of that obsession. And number eight, this cycle goes on and you continue to chase, growing even more and more obsessed. And the sad thing is that this is what happens with guys. It's why I always tell my clients to not chase women because the very act of pursuing that girl subconsciously increases the value of that girl in your mind, making you even want to invest more in her, whether that's in your time, attention, or money. And I'm coming at you with this angle from experience. I remember I was in college and I was with a girl in my room showing her some archived pictures on my social media. And I had completely forgotten that I had a picture of me and some girl that I had a huge crush on back in high school. And keep in mind that this girl, to me, was that one special girl. A girl that I went crazy for about almost 5 years. Pretty much all throughout the end of middle school and high school. And over the course of those 5 years, this girl, in my eyes, had been the most amazing, special, incredible, perfect girl on earth. And throughout those long years, I struggled to regain control of my thoughts. I even tried my best to let go of this girl towards the end. I told myself that she doesn't want to be with me, or that she isn't that much special compared to the other girls, or that she was probably making out with other dudes and wasn't really waiting for me, and that I should just move on. But the thing is that I couldn't. So fast forward to college, 3 years later, while I'm sitting with this girl in my room, looking at this old picture of me at my high school graduation, standing next to the crush of my life. The one thing that I wanted above everything else. 3 years, like I said, had already gone by since the whole intensity of those feelings that I had for her and all that obsession that consumed much of my free time. And while I'm looking at this picture having flashbacks, the girl next to me says, "Who's that girl? She's ugly," unaware of the backstory behind her. And I was like, "Ugly?" I was like kind of taken back by her remark. And she was like, "Yes, just look at her." I mean, it had been years since I last saw this picture, and in an odd but clear-minded way, I understood where this new girl was coming from. The girl I was obsessed over wasn't really all that. I mean, yeah, sure, a lot of people in my school did think that this girl was one of the more beautiful ones, and I guess compared to everyone else there, she was one of the best. But as a new girl in my room pointed out, I viewed the picture of me and her in a more objective way, kind of like seeing it with a fresh new set of eyes and feelings. And while I wouldn't say that she was ugly, I also wouldn't say that she was anything special either. Okay, she was just better than most of the girls in my school, which wasn't something out of this world. And after this girl had left, I ended up looking her up on social media later on. And the girl that I was obsessed about didn't turn out to be as stunning as I once imagined her to be. She was at some private school, getting a psychology degree, hanging around with friends, still living in the same city. It was all normal stuff. Nothing about her or anything that she was doing was unique, amazing, or special. She wasn't bad. She wasn't good. She was just normal, a normal, ordinary person. And in that moment, I felt this huge realization. How the heck did I end up spending so much of my time obsessing over this chick while she was out there just living her life without thinking about me? Now, when we're talking about obsession, it can be seen as a good thing, but only if you have an obsession with something that improves your life or it's giving back to help others. But if you're obsessing over some girl and you can't stop thinking about her, then that's a different story. Like, when was the last time being obsessed with someone seemed anything but romantic? Never. Only though, if the feeling was the same with both people, or if the guy who is obsessed is actually smooth, charming, and actually knows game. But most charming, smooth guys don't get obsessed with girls. And guys who do get obsessed aren't really that charming, smooth, or know anything about game or women. And the reason why they are so obsessed is because that girl doesn't feel the same way about him. And pretty much because they aren't together. And that's exactly what was going on with me that led to my obsession over that girl. And if you're currently obsessing over some girl, then I'm sure it's the same case for you. Now, is this kind of obsession healthy for you? Well, in the movies, they love plotting around these storylines. You have the main character who's super in love with a pretty girl. He has like a mad obsession over her. And in the beginning, she shows little to no interest in him. But no, he doesn't stop there. He's determined to get her and to win her over. And then he goes out of his way and chases her until finally he wins her over and they end up getting married and living happily ever after. Well, that's Hollywood, and this right here is real life. And real life isn't like that. Real life is actually way better than that. Why? Because in real life, you drop that girl that you're obsessing over about and you go out and you meet new girls. You put yourself through rejection, through flakes, and through all of that persistence and taking action, although it was super difficult, you finally achieve success and you find yourself laying next to a beautiful girl in your bed. But Doing this is harder compared to just doing nothing and keeping your obsession with that girl alive. It's going to take a lot of willpower from you in order to fight this off. And the reason why it's so hard is because this one girl becomes the only answer for you, the only thing that will make all your problems go away, the only thing that will bring you peace. It's like you have to have her. You can't stop thinking about her. No other girl crosses your mind. No other girl is good enough, and no one else matches up to her. She is simply perfect in your eyes. But the real funny thing about this obsession that you have over this girl is that you never ever do anything with her. Like, how funny is that? You have all these thoughts about spending time with her, talking to her, texting her, making her your girlfriend, making passionate love to her, going on some romantic adventure with her, and just spending every minute of your time with her, but yet you physically don't do any of those things. You barely ever try to do any of those things. Now, why is that? Well, because the whole chasing after her, it gives you meaning. The thought of getting her and making her yours gives you purpose. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was stuck in this cycle of maybe one day getting her. It felt like my mind was stuck in this prison. And the only reason why I was okay with that was because I had this hope that maybe one day I will be with her. I actually valued the idea of her and the thought that I will be with her one day more than actually the girl herself. I didn't want to, and I was too scared to do any of the things that could actually lead to us talking or being ballsy and trying to shoot my shot with her, because I knew that if she rejected me, I would have lost all the hope that I could one day get her. And without that hope, I wouldn't know what else to do. That hope was keeping my obsession with her alive. And do you really want to be stuck in that cycle forever? I hope not. And this is why you must move on, or you will stay paralyzed in your mind, continuing to stay stuck in this hope trap, never really making any progress with her. And time will fly by, and sooner than later, you will miss the years in your life to actually have met someone who does genuinely like you back. But in order to do that, you're going to have to release yourself from this obsession by doing these 4 things. Number 1, you can start by dating different girls. This will give you dating momentum. And it's crazy because as soon as you meet one new girl and things hit off well, another girl just as good comes along, and then another one and another one. It's contagious. Number 2, by dating other girls, you will remember that you are a guy that is wanted by other women. And number 3, when you date different girls, you will improve your skill set with women. And number 4, being with other girls will probably make the girl that you're obsessed about jealous. But here's the thing, I'm not going to suggest that the way you deal with the one is by getting her. No, because if you were really going to get her, you would have already gotten her by now, and you wouldn't even be watching this video. Because look, I've tried it the other way. I've coached countless men who were stuck on the one, and I told them exactly what to do step by step to help them get the girl. But it never worked out. Not one single time. Why? Well, the problem wasn't because a guy couldn't learn and be good with women. Because if he had applied the same things with a completely different girl, he could have easily have gotten her. The main issue was that when you become deeply emotionally involved with a woman, it will lead you to stumble over your emotions in every interaction with her. You're going to find yourself making mistakes, and the guys who don't have the same level of emotional attachment as you do, they wouldn't make the same mistakes with that girl as you would. And instead of taking action in certain scenarios with her, you're going to hesitate, you're going to stutter, you're going to hold back because you hold her in such a high regard that you are so afraid of making any mistakes that you don't want to ruin things. And because of that, her attraction for you fades away and she will lose interest in you that can never, ever be regained. And because of this, the answer for dealing with the obsession of the one is not to do this or do that and then magically she's yours. No, The answer is this. First, acknowledge that learning how to attract women is a skill and not an inherited trait. It's not something some guys possess while others lack. It's something that you can develop. If you're fixated on one particular girl, and if you avoid talking to her and you're shying away from meeting new girls, you're going to be falling behind, while all the other men out there who do want to get better with women, they're going to be out trying, and they're going to be the ones who are going to be moving forward and advancing in this skill set. Second, realize that you're overly invested in a girl who isn't romantically involved with you. You two aren't even sleeping together. And despite your feelings and desires, she isn't yours. And while I don't advocate for thinking of women as a possession kind of thing, if you consider them in terms of being yours or not yours, it's the man who's physically sleeping with her currently. Okay? That's his girl. Okay? That guy holds way more influence than you do in her life. And you probably don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Next, if you catch yourself in a white knighting mindset, recognize that this is all self-interest. Many guys who obsess over a woman tend to see themselves as her savior, thinking that he can rescue her from others. Well, this isn't out of the kindness out of your heart. It's driven by the selfish desire to make her exclusively yours. Stop doing that. You can't save her unless you focus on your own well-being first. Now, this brings us to the next point, and that is to start meeting new women. Engage in conversations with different girls. Be sociable and actively seek new leads of women in your life. Staying confined to the bubble where the last woman you pursued was the one will only feed the hope trap that you're stuck in. Don't let it linger on for years, man. You want to proactively meet new girls. And lastly, push to actively close the deal with women. A whole bunch of them. This means that you need to approach that girl. You need to get her number. You need to take her on a date. You need to invite her back to your spot. And you need to learn how to escalate physically and seal the deal. And you must do all of this before that window of opportunity with her closes. Yes, I know all of this sounds challenging, and this is why I want you to treat this as a skill. Because if you attempt to do all of this with that one special girl without even having learned this skill set, you're just asking for failure because you won't succeed. I've seen this happen time after time again. If you haven't learned the skill to succeed with women, you won't magically master it with this one specific girl. It's like taking someone who's never juggled a soccer ball and you tell them to juggle it over 100 times on his first try. If you're not proficient and familiar with the skills of having success with women, you can't just automatically flip the switch and become the LeBron James of basketball. Instead, you go out and you work on improving one day at a time. And then one day you'll realize that that one special girl who you were so crazy about, she no longer holds the same value. You'll discover that you're now surrounded by women far more special than she was. And they're the ones unable to stop thinking about you. And if you find yourself fixated on her, understand that all you need to do is bring new women into your life. And soon enough, you'll be with all of them, and you won't even have time to think about that girl who you used to be so obsessed about. You'll recognize that she was only a faint memory. And the real ones, the women that are around you right now, that's real. That's real life. That's what matters. Now look, you have all the necessary tools to start this journey. You have access to my videos here, and I also have my other social media page in the description box below where I have tons of more content to assist you. And above all, man, you have yourself. Even if you never watch another piece of content relating to social skills, masculinity, or self-help, as long as you engage with new girls and persist in sealing the deal, even in uncertain situations, you'll transform your dating life so unexpectedly that you won't recognize yourself before long.